Breaking news. Information on the crisis in Ukraine, as well as the beginning of talks between Ukraine and the United States regarding security guarantees. The most recent events in the Ukraine crisis are as follows. According to Friday's report by Ukraine's public broadcaster Suspilne, citing the Ukrainian president's office, negotiations between Ukraine and the United States on a bilateral agreement on security guarantees began on Thursday. According to Andriy Yermak, the head of the Ukrainian office leading the negotiating delegation, the United States was the first country to initiate negotiations with Ukraine on security commitments. Ukrainian officials have stated that the security guarantees will help the country move closer to its goals of joining the European Union and the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. An official from Russia said on Thursday that talks between Russian President Vladimir Putin and the leaders of 7 African countries participating in a peace mission to Ukraine would continue. Dmitry Peskov, the Kremlin spokesman, told Russia's TASS news agency, "Indeed, the dialogue will continue. No firm dates have been set at this time." Putin and the African Peace Mission met on the sidelines of the Russia-Africa Summit in St. Petersburg at the end of July, and their joint statement was released by South African authorities on Thursday. The leaders acknowledged the progress made on the humanitarian aspects of the initiative and agreed to continue the dialogue, according to the statement. According to a statement released by the Russian Defense Ministry on Friday, 2 Ukrainian unmanned boats were destroyed by Russian ships as they attempted to attack the Russian naval base in Novorossiysk, a major Black Sea port. 2 unmanned Ukrainian naval vessels were used in an attack on the Novorossiysk naval base tonight. The unmanned boats were spotted visually and destroyed by fire from the standard weapons of the Russian ships during the repulsion of the attack, the ministry said. Novorossiysk is where oil is loaded onto tankers, and the Caspian Pipeline Consortium has stated that despite the attack, business as usual has been maintained. End item. In an article he wrote for Slate in January 2022, foreign policy analyst and staff writer, author of the World blog Joshua Keating predicted that war over Taiwan would likely involve the largest and most complex amphibious invasion ever mounted. The longer the conflict lasts, the more likely it is that the densely populated and technologically advanced country will descend into a ground war. And that's only within Taiwan. The overwhelming desire for peace across the globe, combined with the high cost to China, makes such an endeavor unlikely at this time. Until the British ruled the waves, the international community was content with the rules-based arrangement that had been in place, despite the no limits Sino-Russian Entente against the U.S. hegemonic policy that has ruled the world since the end of World War II. Pandit Nehru of India, Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, Sukarno of Indonesia, Joseph Broz Tito of Yugoslavia, and Gamal Abdul Nasser of the United Arab Republic spearheaded the non-alignment policy after the British left India and Africa. There is a group of 120 nations called the Non-Aligned Movement, NAM, that has no official ties to or opposition from any major power bloc. A reaction to the rapid bipolarization of the world during the Cold War, in which 2 major powers formed blocs and embarked on a policy to pull the rest of the world into their orbits. The movement's origins can be traced back to the aftermath of the Korean War. The first meeting of non-aligned world leaders was hosted by Indonesia under President Sukarno. The group's stated mission is to protect the national independence, sovereignty, territorial integrity, and security of non-aligned countries, while they struggle against imperialism, colonialism, neocolonialism, racism, and all forms of foreign aggression, occupation, domination, interference, or hegemony, as well as against great powers politics. The non-aligned movement's member nations account for roughly 65% of the UN's membership and 55% of the world's total population. Although the non-aligned movement does include some developed nations, the majority of its members are developing or third world countries.